All right, welcome to today's version of the Operator SDK Community Triage meeting. I'll be hosting, and I've just started the recording, so make sure that we hold ourselves accountable to the CNCF's Code of Conduct, and that anything that is shared may be shared to the public space, and will be shortly after this meeting. So with that, I will share my screen and we'll get started. There's also some, sounded like there are some announcements potentially to be shared as well with the community. This could be a good time. I think we'll have time for that today as well. Let me share. Desktop 3. All right. Let me move a few things around real quick. All right. I'm hoping that this screen is being shared. Get a thumbs up. Yep. Okay, great. It's our list of things. I've already pulled them up. I did not get the amount of time I would like to peruse through that, so we'll be doing that together. There's a number of people in this meeting who are named in a number of these, so I assume that would go rather quickly. So first one up is a watch on namespaces relative to the Ansible operator. Does anybody have some feedback on this?
Yeah, I took a look at this and talked with Fabian before the meeting. I think you can do this. I go ahead and assign it to me, and I will respond and add the label support.
Wow. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. And is that something that we can add to a milestone?
Backlog would be fine.
Backlog, okay. Thank you very much. Anyone want to discuss this any further? This particular item? Sounds like it's going to be handled. Perfect. Camilla, replace the text Ansible static files by a mock data generated with a sample stack. Sounds like some testing. Looks like we're adding some new features. You want to address some of that?
We have a directory called test Ansible, which has the static files with advanced scenarios to test molecule stuff. The idea is instead we have this static mock data, we generate this with the sample stack. So this is for we do this stuff in a follow-up, so can be in backlog. It's assigned to me because I will start to work on. I already start actually doing a few things related.
Awesome. It's assigned to you because you care. That's awesome.
Because I care a lot.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I caught the fact that you wanted it in the backlog, and I appreciate the details.
Really, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up is the Operator SDK init fails while updating GoMod. Looks like Camilla, you've had some back and forth. Were you, okay, Joe's been involved. Does anybody have an update here, or should we read through this? Can someone shortcut us?
The problem was the folk had a project already that is not built with the tool, and did you like it to use the tool in the project? So it's trying to use the init command in a pre-existent project, but the tool, usually we test that the tool, in my point of view, is implemented to use an empty directory, as we describe in the documentation. So since the project has already a Go mod with another dependency, shows that it has some conflict. So my last suggestion was like, try to follow the steps that we have in the documents, like create empty directory, run the init, scaffold everything again, and then compare, or try to use update his Go mod file with the same dependencies that you reusing the projects that are scaffolded by the tool, and then run the init on top, to see if it's so.
This
Sounds,
yeah, go
Why
ahead.
would you?
I was just going to say, it sounds like for whatever reason, this person is trying to specifically avoid creating a new project from scratch and is instead trying to run a init in an existing project, or at least with an existing go.mod. So the comment I made is basically what's happening, I think, is they've got a go.mod, and when they run Operator SDK init, one of the things that happens is that we run like go mod tidy or something like that, and that sounds like it's what's failing. So my suggestion, which I don't think the person has tried yet based on what they're saying, is that they need an explicit replace line in their existing go.mod file for the thing that's complaining doesn't know about v0.0.0 version. So I think there's two ways to approach this. One is let's just re-ask and say, basically put this replace line in your go.mod and retry. And any other, there are very likely going to be other K8s.io things that come up if I had any guess, because usually if there's one, there's like 10. So we basically say like anything that comes up as a K8s.io v0.0.0, you need to have an explicit replace for. And then that's one option, see if that works. But then they're probably going to run into a bunch of other issues related to where their APIs are and where their controllers are. And it's like, I think what we might want to say, which is what Camilla's getting at, is like, that's just not something that we would recommend. You should create it from scratch and follow the migration guide. But I do think it might be worthwhile to at least say, like, if you really, really, really want to try doing it your way, like, here's how you can get past this one issue.
Yeah, my second suggestion was like create one from scratch, just the init, get the Go mod, which is scaffolded by the tool, use this, get the same versions, of the control runtime, all the stuff, put in the original project, and then try again. I gave you 2 workarounds, let's see. Plus has your workaround as well, but to see if the folk can try to solve that. Does it know?
Yeah, I would probably say looks like our most recent correspondence has been Camilla suggesting something. So yeah, I would say backlog and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like standard support at this point. I was curious whether we have a need for documentation, but that said, I like your.
Can we make sure that this one is assigned before we move on? So it doesn't get...
Who would like to
take this one, Camilla?
Thank you. Let's see. But I doesn't know how we can document that. I don't think it's like just to help the fall.
Yeah, I don't think this is documenting. They're trying to do something that we haven't explicitly said to do. We're just trying to be
and we
helpful.
Would encourage not to do. So I don't think we should document it.
No,
but we can document it on this issue, and that would be
yes. This issue will be if this comes up with someone else, they can find it and see how it gets resolved. So
yeah, and just for clarity, my question of whether documentation was valuable here was not to document this. It was to document there be dragons and that the preferred model is X. If the preferred model is being missed, I'm questioning why. Is this because they just didn't understand, or they didn't read, or?
I think the first comment that the original issue had, I think it said basically like, yeah, I realize I'm supposed to do it this way, but I want to do it another, or maybe he didn't put that. I think this is a Red Hatter, and I think I remember an internal conversation where he was saying, yeah, I don't want to do the migration, that I'm lazy. And we said, well, can you open an issue? And here's where we are.
So
it's great.
I don't even understand what's supposed to happen if you're knitting in a pre-existing project. Like, it's going to generate a whole bunch of stuff that you can't use because it's you already have the old stuff? Like I don't.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of dragons.
Well, like I don't even understand what he wants to happen. Like it's not going to magically read the pre-existing stuff and use that.
Right. Either
That's
way, he's
fair.
going to have to copy stuff over and move things around. But
We
now he's
could-
got like a jumbled mess.
We probably
I-
ought to just fail immediately if the directory is not empty. Like if you ran git init on an already Git project, it would fail. As it should.
It should be in upstream, but I agree that
Yeah.
we could do that.
Hmm.
Do you think
I like
that
that
this is something nice? Yeah, everybody is in agree with that.
I wonder.
And it could even
I
have a
think there's-
force so that somebody who really wants to try it can, but we definitely don't support it.
I think there's a case where it's supported without that, which is you can run go mod init first, and then run operator SDK init second, and that's supported, and that's in the docs. So I think we would need to have maybe a whitelist of files that are allowed to exist or something like that.
But if we do allow a Go mod to exist, then they're gonna potentially run into this problem anyway, right?
They would. But
So
I mean, in my opinion, this is just a Go, like this is not an SDK or a Cube Builder issue. This is just like a, do you understand your Go dependencies and Go modules? I don't know.
But
It
it
is.
do not make sense in the plugin, the init plugin. We say in the validation. Okay, one of the requirements is like be an empty repository.
Right, but I think if you look at the Cube Builder docs, it explicitly says first run go mod init with a repo name, so that you get a mod file that just declares the repo. And then when you run
Okay.
Operator SDK or Cube Builder init, you don't have to also include the -- repo flag. So it reads from
Gotcha.
go.mod to determine the module name.
yeah. So I wonder if we even want to consider getting rid of that use case upstream, because you might as well just use the repo flag. Like I don't see why you wouldn't want to do that, or why it's any easier to do go mod init first, you know? So maybe we can, I think the action item here would be to raise an issue discussing removing that use case and checking for any existing files in the directory first, because they are tied together.
I think that, yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
I thought I heard Austin moving this direction, but I think I like the idea. Well, first of all, I like the idea of removing that use case, so to speak, but I like the idea of putting in a force flag or whatever the flag is, allowing that use case to be still doable just with this certain flag. You know what you're doing, so yeah, there'd be dragons. You're a warrior.
Personally, I'm not in favor of that, because that implies that we do support the case of you have whatever is in your directory first. So I'm against that, but I'm obviously not the sole decider here. So you should also add that option to the issue.
The only reason that I think that we would need that option is that technically this would be backwards incompatible, I guess, even though we didn't really support it before. But if there's any reason why anyone would want to try it, it would be a huge pain for them to try it. And I don't really mind them trying it as long as they know that we don't support it.
I think if we were going to make this change, it would only be in the v3 plugin, and so it would be a forward compatible change because we don't support that yet. I don't think we were going to go back and change how the v2 plugin works.
Cool. Well, I don't have a strong opinion about the flag, so I'll default to what y'all think.
Yeah, I'm good too. I was just curious, like what's the workflow if someone wants to add something like this to an existing project? They go out and gen something new and then they start copying and pasting a bunch of stuff over. There's no support for them, or that would be an added feature we decide to add in later, or
I think it would be
enough
hard to
demand,
have
is
a
there?
feature like that. I think it would be hard to have a feature like that, like check what it has in the director identify if he's all okay, and then just do critical vote about what is missing. I think it is approach like, okay, I'm lazy to follow the immigration guide and I want to try to do that. You give me more work than follow the immigration guide. At the end.
Yeah, ultimately what I would like somebody to do is scaffold a project and then copy their stuff over rather than do it the other way around. Because yeah, I agree with Camilla. It just makes more work for them and us because then they file issues like this and might not have like a full understanding of how Go modules work to begin with. So that makes it just more difficult.
This
But
might be a
let's-
tangent, but do we think there are any plugin phase 2 relations with this? And so I'll explain a little bit. So plugin phase 2, what we're talking about is basically saying the plugin can decide like what it expects to exist either in the file system already or in the universe of stuff that's passed to it from a prior plugin. So do we think this is maybe a more generic problem where like all plugins have some sort of validation step and can decide, what preconditions must exist or not exist? And one potential option could be that the init plugin says, all the files that I'm saying I want to be in the universe have to not exist. And that's the precondition. Rather than saying no files can exist, maybe what we're saying is these files must not exist. And we can put that in the issue too to talk about, but I'm wondering if that's maybe the escape hatch, which is you can't have any of these files here because we're going to try to overwrite them and we'll fail because we're not going to touch existing files. But if there's no overlap on file names, then we'll happily write all the new files out alongside all of your existing files.
I think you're exactly right. I think the part of the phase 2 implementation should be some like pre-validate or whatever, where, I mean, even more generally than like these files should not exist, like take all files that exist and do what you will with them and then return some error value if you don't like what you've gotten. We could be more restrictive or less, I'm not really sure, but this is like a general plugin problem and not just like there shouldn't be anything in this directory.
Yeah.
Love it. I added a to-do to add an issue for that, so I'll take that on after this meeting. It seems like a lot to write in front of everybody, so I'll just do it after if everybody's okay with that.
But I think you need to raise it is showing the upstream because the solution needs to be there, like the validation stuff. No matter if you validate if the director should be input or if the director should not have other directors or specific files, needed to be the Kube builder instead.
It actually needs to be in both because like Ansible and Helm, I don't think would pick it up from an upstream queue builder.
But we will patch when we do the update. When we upgrade it, like, okay, we will update SDK with a new version of the Kube builder. Then we need, as part of this process, in my humble opinion, we need to check, okay, we update the Go project. Now, what changes have that could impact Ansible and Helm as well that we need to address?
I feel like that's pretty easy to miss, so I would prefer that we just go ahead and file the issue now rather than wait for that and then file the issue.
You can always close it if it doesn't make sense or whatever.
Yeah.
Or add more detail as we discover more. So,
Okay.
of course, that my obligation, just the amount of things I need to do, just increased unknown to me at the very beginnings. But what I'll do now then is I'll add to KubeBuilder an issue for validation of files for init, and then I'll add 2 issues for Helm and Ansible. Does that make sense?
I think what I would suggest is just a one issue in the SDK that says validation for init, and we can
Push from
we can
there.
just use that kind of as a
Okay.
umbrella issue for everything in the SDK.
Thank you for
Yep.
reducing my scope.
There you go.
So-
And you can assign it to myself because I will try to other.
Oh, okay, great. Great, thanks, Camilla.
So, not to belabor the point, but I just did a new directory. I did a go mod in it. We gave it, did it's got 2 lines in the go mod, and then I did a go get GitHub rook at 145 like they did, and that go get fails. I haven't done anything SDK related here.
Right. It's because of Kubernetes dependencies, and that you basically, if you require a version of Kubernetes less than 117, I think it is, you basically must also include replaces lines in your go mod file. That's just how it works for a certain version range of Kubernetes imports plus go modules.
I guess what I'm really getting at is, why is this SDK in it?
Because this is where people run into it.
Okay,
I mean,
that's fair. Burden of proof. Yep, been there.
So I think we can close this one, right? Like, I don't think we need to wait on, I think we've provided some workarounds, but we have established that this really is not our problem. I think we can go ahead and close it.
I can make a comment after if you decide that.
Great.
I have just one thing more that came in my mind, if you don't mind, related, but it's not a cheese issue. If we have a Kube Builder project and I would like to use SDK to integrate it with the operator lifecycle manager, how we are saying that the user should update the making file to add the targets? It's manually now?
I think so.
I
But
would
do we
just
not
run
have
operator
a
SDK
plugin?
init and an empty directory, and then copy the make file in.
Yes, but
It's a little
could
bit
we
more than
not?
that, though.
Could we not have a plugin to do that? Like an integrate plugin? Can I
think
raise
the-
an issue for that?
I think the problem on that, Camilla, would be that if we're sticking with the existing CLI, the plugin would have to have happened during a init. So if you already have a KubeBuilder plugin, you've already run a init, and there's not really an opportunity to then rerun a init on an existing project.
But could we
But
not
I
have a
understand-
new plugin?
Well, I understand.
Like I integrate?
Yeah, I understand the
Sorry.
use case though. Like, is there something you can do to run like this is really a phase 2 plugins question in my mind, right? Basically what I think you're asking for is, I've already run one of the root commands, like one of the phase 1 plugin commands, but I want to kind of do a rerun where I skip the root one, but then I add in like some follow-on plugins that I want to have applied to my project. I can see how that could be useful, like for this case or for any other cases really, but I would probably say, like, let's put that in the bucket of phase 2 plugin use cases and see what comes out.
Okay. Yeah, I thought if we could implement a new plugin, yeah, but it would be, we need to wait to the phase 2. I believe that it has no way to implement it. I am exclusively plugin for SDK now.
Excellent. Everybody good to move past this init? Properly edited? Yeah, good. All right. So Camilla, actually, I think you've got this, and the conversation seemed clear to me. I'll create a issue. I will add Camilla to that as well, and that'll be the driver for going forward and pushing upstream as well. That'll follow this meeting.
Cool.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Hit refresh real quick. Okay. CSV invalid. Valid, no. bug. Looks like Eric, you're already assigned. You got this? You want me to throw it in the backlog?
Yeah. It looks like what's happening is when some non-cluster permissions are, when non-cluster permissions are missing from the input to the CSV generator, they are added to a null array is added to the CSV, which looks like it's invalid. OLM validation fails. So basically this just needs to be an empty array or removed completely if there are no rules in the permissions.
I noticed that they're using Go 114.
Could
Could that be related?
No.
You have a milestone for this then? Target?
Yeah, I would put this in 1.2.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy fix. I could probably get this out today.
All right. We'll check on you tomorrow.
Hold me accountable.
I could do that in one line of code. No. All right, great. Thanks, Eric. Oh, everything on my machine is working oddly. Okay, Jonathan, you want to take us through this? I think this has been a couple back and forths.
I didn't realize I mangled the link there. I'll have to fix that. So there was an issue that we had about how the make file shouldn't require any changes when I init a project. It should work out of the box. And we were like, okay, but really we need to fix this upstream. So we went and did that, or we opened a pull request. I don't know if it's still open or not. But that was taking a while and it wasn't going to make it into the release. And this was a release blocker. So we did it on our end. I would like to keep this issue open just so that when the fix upstream is merged, we bump our dependency and revert the change on our end. And it seemed there was confusion because I thought that could just be kept in the old issue and we kept opening and closing it. So I just made a new issue.
Perfect. Should we put this in the 1.2 milestone?
The only thing I maybe don't have some insight into is I don't really know how backporting stuff to older versions works. And I think Camilla said we had to do that or something. And I don't know if that's been done yet or.
I mean, I think we can debate this, but I think my opinion would be that this would not be backported because this is more of this isn't really a bug fix. This would just be like a refactoring.
I agree. This is why release material.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Makes it easy.
I doesn't know if we need the issue here because, okay, for regards SDK, we agreed just replace the making file, putting the target, the instructions that we defined in the documents instead. So any other further solution, we don't know how in the code builder we solve that. Solly suggests we have a Go model that we'll install instead. So it might be changed, it might be addressed just in V3 and not in V2. So this is a work in progress, you know, that it probably has a lot of discussion. So I doesn't know if we need an issue in SDK side. Because it's like any other change.
It was almost like any other change with the exception, and this is the exception is why we need to keep this, is that we will need to revert something if this gets done upstream.
And I would say this is something that regardless of whether it's a reversion or not, like something we plan to do. And if it's in the milestone, then we're now more transparent about the things that we're planning to do. So my vote would be we put in the 1.2 milestone. If it seems like there's going to be some back and forth and it's not going to make it in time for 1.2, this is no longer a release blocker. So if it doesn't get done before 1.2, then it moves to 1.3. But I think since this is kind of a tech debt thing that we're carrying, I would say let's put it in our next release and try to prioritize closing it out so that we don't keep carrying tech debt.
Sure, and yeah, that was part of my motivation, was just to make sure that what needs to be done and what we're working on is written down somewhere so people can see it.
Yeah, that's great.
I like that.
But if you want to stick this in 1.2 and assign me, Jonathan, to it, I'll try and keep on top of it.
And what label should we use? Dependence?
That's a good
No,
question.
because we have to make a reversion. I would, I don't know. I would just throw priority importance soon on it. I don't really know how to categorize this.
I mean, really, it's like, is there like a waiting for something else to happen label?
Blocked.
You want to add that? Makes sense. I do like it.
Sure.
Sure.
It would be nicer, Jonathan, drives me crazy when something's blocked and you don't have enough context to know what and where. If you could add like the link to the thing that it's blocked on, that would be really helpful.
It's already there. I mean, I screwed the link up, but that's.
Oh, I see. Yep, you're right. Perfect. You're right. Exactly right. Yeah, it looks like just the brackets are off. So
I can never remember the first time how to get it marked down. And I even did one in this same freaking thing.
Hey, Jonathan, with GitHub, I think you just put the link in directly and it nicely renders it, even if it's outside of this project.
Oh, really?
I think so. Give it a shot at least.
It will.
when I was in the Navy, we had a phrase 50-50-90, which meant 50-50. If there's a 50-50 chance, 90% of the time you'll get it wrong. So
Yeah, that's
proven it.
If I just type in the link with no brackets or qualifiers or anything.
I think it'll show up as like tubular.
Oh, okay, that's reasonable. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're good.
I do have one request. We've talked about this before. I'll probably keep reiterating it a few times. I know it's really tempting to just fill out issues with like a bunch of links like this, but it would be really nice to have like a 1 or 2 sentence summary for anybody who's just quickly glancing at these things. Basically what you said at the beginning of this discussion, Jonathan.
Sure, I can
so
take that out.
Follow up and just do that. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I love context. Yep. Awesome. Next up, where are we at? Looks like triage support. Looks like Eric, you're already assigned. Are you running this down? Should we?
Yeah. So this person is requesting that they can set the package name for their bundle when they run generate bundle. This was kind of a feature that we had pre 1.0 where you could set the operator name. But we removed that in favor of using the project name field in the project configuration file. What this person is requesting, instead of being able to, well, what they're requesting is we don't use the project name field in the project file. We let them set a different name. That is somewhat of a weird request to me because the project name field is used throughout the entire project. So why would you want a different project name or a different package name for your operator? The only reason I could really see you wanting to do that is if you have multiple package names, like if you're creating multiple catalogs or multiple catalog entries for different cluster types. That's one possibility, but it just sounds like they want to have a different project name or different package name from their project name. So basically what I said was just change the project file to have project name be your package name. I will say that we've gotten a lot of feedback that the generate bundle command should be able to be used outside of a project, and therefore we are probably going to add back the operator name flag. But this use case is different from the one that's kind of directing us to add that flag back. Anybody have any comments or questions about that? Okay, cool. So I'll wait for this person to respond. I'm kind of interested to see why they're not just using the project name in their project file.
That's fine. Although I think we ought to get into the habit of, if we think that we've solved the issue, rather than wait on them to respond, let's just go ahead and close the issue and invite them to reopen if we didn't.
I don't necessarily think I've solved the issue. I just, like I might have to some degree, but I also want to understand why their use case is different from everybody else's, or like what their use case is, I guess is a better way to phrase that.
Maybe it's not the case of I'm developer, I would like to run this command operator SDK generative bundle in a project that was not built with the tool, like to integrate with the operator lifecycle manager. So could we not just, if you don't have the project name, use the director name instead?
I think that is the default if there is no project name field. And
So
this is more like why don't they want it to be the project name value or the directory name? Like why do they want to change that value specifically for bundles? I think ultimately what's going to happen is they'll respond, and unless it's like some crazy use case that we haven't thought of, I'll be like, yeah, just use the project name in the project file and then close this out, because like you said, Austin, this will basically have been resolved.
Yeah, makes sense, because they can customize that by updating the project name in the project file. So, yeah.
That's good. Where are we at? So we're going to keep it open then and put in the backlog? How will you want to?
Yeah, put that in the backlog.
Very well. Next up, let's see here. Looks like we have some back and forth. Camilla, we need more information and we're waiting on that.
This one to me looks like a pretty significant feature request that would require some somewhat significant code changes in Helm operator, I think. So high level Helm, when you run like Helm install, what Helm does under the hood is it creates a release artifact. And in this case, in Helm v3's case, it creates a secret in the namespace that you're creating your release in. And so what this person is asking to do is to watch namespaces rather than CRs, and then basically reconcile based on namespaces. The problem with that is that namespaces are cluster scoped. So the Helm operator, as it works today, would not know where to create the secret associated with that release. Theoretically, maybe it could do it in the namespace that it just watched, but that would be like kind of a special case because it happens to be watching namespaces. I think the higher, more generic problem is that Helm doesn't support cluster scoped releases. So there's really no straightforward way of implementing this for the Helm operator as far as I can think off the top of my head. So I think
make a few questions on that to be sure that it was that, but I understood that it was that as well. The folk would like to watch namespace, external resource. Yeah.
So Camilla, your second paragraph there, I think is is not quite what he's talking about. So I think what you're talking about is V1 projects are cluster scoped in that they watch all namespaces, but what this person I think is asking for is cluster scoped is in the CRD or in this case, the primary kind that we're watching is cluster scoped. And that is supported in general for Go and Ansible operators, but that's not supported for Helm operators because like I said, the release secret is a secret, and secrets are namespace scoped. So to know where to create that secret, we need the, right now, we create that secret in the same namespace that the primary resource is in.
It's upgraded, where the source is upgraded.
Yes, so I think, I would say probably leave this open for now to see what he says. I mean, this is a feature request, so I think the question is like, is this a feature that we'd be willing to implement? I don't know.
I think if the, like, for both Ansible and Helm, I think if the underlying runner or CR manager has this feature, then it's feasible. But until then, there's nothing we can really do.
I mean, the weird part though is that like Helm has no concept of watches like at all, right? Like Helm, you just say like create a release in this namespace. So theoretically, a solution to this could be, you know, when the Helm operator starts up, or let's see, if the Helm operator is managing cluster scope resources, rather than, you know, rather than the default of assuming that we can create the release secret in the namespace where the resource is, which we can't because it's cluster scoped and it has no namespace. In that case, maybe there's some variable that you have to set or some flag that you're, you know, setting that says, you know, this namespace is the namespace to use for the release secrets associated with this cluster scoped resource. And then we'd create secrets there, and we'd have to give the operator permissions to create secrets there. But it seems like there's a lot of complexity in terms of how all the permissions and all of the options and how that would all get configured would work. I think this would be a big chunk of work and would make the Helm operator, it would not be a trivial improvement. Let's put it that way. I think it would be a significant change.
Well, if this person wants to put forth a proposal, then by all means they can. And maybe we should just say that to them.
We have the watches file in the Helm and Ansible. I was thinking like in V3 plugin, now we can create an API for a core type. In V2, it is not supported. The group will be empty. So if we create an API for a core type, like let's think about other kinds of type, like config map. We could author config maps and do something when we are watching this type. However, the namespace, I was thinking something similar, you know, when we upgrade everything for the V3 plugin and allow this stuff as well. So we will have in the watch file the namespace, and then watching the namespace.
I'm sorry to
But
interrupt,
yes,
but we've still got 5 more to go and only 14 minutes. So if we could take the rest of this conversation to another venue, maybe?
Yeah. Also, Camille, could you follow up on this and just say if you would like to submit a proposal for this, then feel free.
okay, but yeah. Okay, we can say about the proposal as well, but I think we need to understand a little bit more to be sure, you know.
We could remove the milestone and come back to it next week after there's been some more discussion on the issue.
Yeah, I guess so. I just, if we're already agreeing that we're not going to work on this, then I don't think we should spend more time talking about it. We could put it in next.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's just take the milestone off, talk about it next week. It's fine.
It's fine. In both cases, it's fine.
Unless you're happy, Camilla. You're happy.
Everything you'll make you happy.
No,
Everything.
just you're happy. Okay, great.
I'll make
The only
you
answer is
happy.
yes.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
I agree with Austin. He stole my job though. Dang it. Nice job. Operator not getting any requests for related CRD. Let's see here. Looks like support has already been tagged by somebody. Camilla. All right, where do we stand? Guess we're still gathering information, yeah?
Yes, the user put the error. He was trying to run locally. So I just explained the steps and I need to check his answer. I didn't.
Is it possible that the user needs to include the auth plugin proxy for GKE?
If they're running a GCP, that might be it. Oh yeah. So
I don't think we
working locally,
scaffold
but-
that.
No, we don't.
Yeah. It works locally, but not in cluster. I would suggest that, Camilla.
That's a good catch. It's probably the reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Camilla?
Because of the kind, the cluster, I'm not sure if I capture what you mean, because, okay. Oh,
There's a client Go plugin that if you want to have like RBAC work correctly in AWS or GCP or some of the other clouds, you've got to basically include a naked import of that plugin to get your operator to work correctly. We have that line in our code base for the Helm and Ansible operators. So I'll just link it.
I didn't know about that.
Here, I'll link it in the chat. I think they just need to include that line in their main.go.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Does that mean you're taking it, Camilla? Man.
Yes. Could we not push this for upstream?
Possibly. There might be a reason that it's not there explicitly. Maybe it's in the docs upstream that I don't know about. But yeah, I mean, if it hasn't been explicitly decided not to put it there, we should open an issue and ask about it.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not sure why I can't think of a reason to not have it. So it'd be probably worth pushing on that a little bit. But
Yeah,
okay, great.
I mean, most people are going to have client Go imported anyway. So
Yeah.
unless you want to explicitly not support those things, seems reasonable.
Perfect. I agree. Joe, you want to walk us through this? It looks lengthy.
Yeah. So when we released 1.1, and I'll try to make this, actually, why don't we skip this for now and get to the rest of them, because this could take several minutes at least.
Okay. Yeah, we just have one more, so we'll come back to it.
It took several hours last week already.
Oh. Step one, listen to the recording from last week. All right. Okay, so in the Go SDK, unable to use upstream conditions as described in the documentation. Has anybody? Okay, so Joe, you've inquired about some questions.
Yes. So basically, quick high level is that we recently got rid of the status conditions helpers in Operator Lib in favor of the upstream API machinery conditions that were added, I think, in V119. So this is basically asking, like, I can't use those because there's some weird compiler error I'm getting with controller runtime dependencies. So basically there's two options, which I put in these comments. One is you can still use v1.0 operator lib status conditions and that should work. Or the specific compile issue that the person was getting was related to GoLogger not having one of the interfaces. So in V020 of GoLogger, they removed the info logger interface, but that was a breaking change for existing implementations and existing callers. But then they re-added that interface in V0.2.1. So I think another solution to this would be just to explicitly require logger V0.2.1 and they'll be solved. So I guess we could close this. I'm almost certain that one of those two solutions is going to work. So I can go ahead and close and leave a comment and say one of these doesn't
Okay.
work, then we can reopen.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
did try this out and this does work. So
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Varsha.
Fantastic. That's quick feedback. Already have 2 tests going on to confirm. All right, we have a little bit of time, just I don't know, 7 minutes or so.
Can
Yeah.
you click refresh on the issues because I filed a couple more
Oh.
right before the meeting?
Oh, I don't know if we allow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm terrible. They're quick though.
Yeah. Not sure which ones we left behind. Okay.
The
Well, I
last
can see the
two.
2 that you have. Yeah. All right. Let me just add these up here real quick. Okay. Add SDK user groups to Slack. You want to?
Yeah, so I wanted to ping everybody, but I couldn't, so I had to use the Red Hat internal channel to ping everybody, which was not ideal. So it might be nice to ping people, and we could separate it by maintainers, admins, and approvers, but it would be also nice if we don't overuse that.
All right,
But
are maintainers and approvers different groups of people?
Yes.
Okay, well, more things I don't understand. What's a maintainer?
So maintainer, there's like supersets and subsets. I think the way that it's set up, correct me if I'm wrong, Austin or Eric.
Yeah.
Maintainers can have review powers and can LGTM, and approvers have all of the powers of maintainers plus the ability to /approve, and then maybe also some other / commands. And then admins have even more powers that can, change the repo and mess with more stuff. So I don't know exactly what the breakdown is. Maybe Austin or Eric,
I think the main difference between a maintainer and an approver is that a maintainer's approval does not count for merging it.
Well,
I
maintainers
will actually
Yeah, go
say
ahead.
that there is no maintainer concept in the membership guidelines that we have. There is member, reviewer, approver, and sub-project owner. The membership
member.
or the maintainer. The maintainer title has gone away under the new regime, and I believe that's the same thing in upstream Kubernetes because that's where I got the membership docs from. So there is in our owner's alias file in the SDK, there are approvers, reviewers, and admins. The admins are approvers, but they're symbolically different because they have administrative privileges through GitHub to change things in the repo. They are no different in the membership framework that we have than approvers.
It does seem like you would need to be able to ping into admin if you needed something fancy.
Yeah, exactly. If you,
Cool, so
for example, if you want the ability to change settings in the SDK repo through GitHub, then you need to have administrative privileges, and another admin needs to give you those privileges.
cool. So
Is
for
that
this
just
one, do
static?
we want? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Austin. Is that something that's just like kind of static as an informational thing in the owner's file, or is that somehow synced such that a bot is an admin and controls the other admins via that file?
No, it's fully informational.
Okay.
I think I even put a comment into the owner's alias file saying that if there isn't, then I will add one.
Yeah. I wanted to check something real quick. I'm not meaning to challenge the terms, but I just recently checked with Amy from the CNCF on another matter, and they do have explicit use of the term maintainer for specific projects. So maybe not within the project, but the projects from the CNCF standpoint have listed maintainers. And
I would think that maintainers would be basically everyone that's in reviewers, approvers, or admin, right?
I think that's right.
With the project, for me, my understanding of this work means someone that do pull requests, do reviews, contribute actively with the project.
Well, I don't know. Well, we can come back to
Okay.
it for the bigger reason, but I think for the user groups, I think admins and approvers is probably all we need for like right now. And maybe
And the
here,
reviewers.
but
So
reviewers'
you are-
reviews don't actually count towards approving, right? So
They do. So reviewers can do LGTM, but you can't, like, two different reviewers can't get something merged. You have to have at least one approver do approve.
I see. So we want admins, approvers, and reviewers.
I mean,
Groups.
I
Or
would
maybe just reviewers.
suggest just one. Yeah, I would just maybe say maintainers, if that's a term we're allowed to use, and just have it include everybody that's in the owner's file.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
And then if we need more later, then we can always add more that scope it down.
With that said, does anybody know how to add aliases in Slack for CNCF?
Yeah,
Oh, we do?
I added
Okay.
there's a link to Joe sent me. So if you want to assign me, I'll add a comment that says we're just going to add one for maintainers.
Okay.
Does
Going through the
Operator
backlog
SDK
or
let's do 1.2.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to sidetrack this conversation, but this is just something that's still sort of confusing to me. And now that we're going to be getting new people, I'm going to have to explain it to them. So I just want to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's good. This is important. And I misunderstood as well.
yeah, honing the mental model. Love it. It's a good thing. There was one last thing. It's probably similar, right? New channel.
Yeah, but it is 3. I don't think it's a big deal. We could come back to this next week.
Okay. It's 3 for you. It's 2 for me.
Or at the top of the hour.
Yeah, that's just
Wait,
me.
so we want to create a new channel, or this channel already exists?
Create a new channel.
Okay, can you just say that in the either just update the title of this issue or add this to the description?
Yeah, I'll update the title.
Awesome. I'll leave it hanging so we get you next triage. It is past the hour already. So appreciate all the involvement. It's been very.
Just a minute. I put in the channel a link for the post 1.0 milestone. We have a milestone to work in the documents. So I just would like to say that any help in the documents would be very appreciated from anyone that would like to work on that. As if someone see that's something that should be changed and has any suggestion also would be very nice. Raise an issue for we associate to that.
Excellent.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
might
and
be-
the housekeeping thing for anything that's in the 1.1 that's not closed, I'm going to bump it to the 1.2 and we'll go over that on Wednesday.
Oh, great. Yeah. Really
We
appreciate
can
that.
rename the milestone to .0.
Oh, wait, hold on. Just, I haven't checked. Who's running the meeting on Wednesday?
Eric is. I looked at that today.
I do not know if I'm going to be able to be there for it. I have a thing.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, anybody else to drop can go ahead. I guess we're done now. Or is
Yeah, we can.
is there anything
The
else?
last issue that we skipped. If you're interested in release woes and troubles, feel free to take a read and let us know if you have any opinions. We might try to solve that before next week if we get around to it, but we'll put some comments in there as we decide what we think we want to do, and feel free to leave any feedback.
That's great. Anything else? Anyone? I keep trying to close it down. It's no, it's been really good. It's been a very
Wait. No, I'm just kidding.
I just
There's
tested
always
something.
one.
Yes.
That's right.
All right.
It's always one.
Thanks,
Hopefully
folks.
you guys
Thanks, Ken.
are. Yep. Hopefully
Really,
you're
thank
healthy.
you.
Stay healthy. We'll see you next time.
Sounds
Really,
good.
thank you. Bye bye.